one of the masterpieces of the great director, unable to afford group performances. What to do? I'll use an inflatable doll directly. How to present in movies. A grand scene where thousands or even tens of thousands of people gather together. Conventional methods that everyone can immediately think of. It should be these two types. One is to invest heavily in hiring massive group performances. Just like in Gandhi, this film has fully utilized over 300,000 people. Shoot the ending part of the funeral. We have set a Guinness record, but the downside is that it really costs money. 300,000 people, not to mention movie pay, a typical crew. I can't even afford to provide boxed meals. And the second method, then it's a special effect, like the Bohemian Rhapsody. First, in front of the green screen, shoot shots of dozens of people standing together, and then crazily copy and paste. But the downside of doing this is that special effects don't just cost money. Rendering still takes time. And what is the most cost-effective way? The King's Speech provides the answer. Use real people for the parts that can be seen clearly, the blurred part behind. Then use 1,500 inflatable dolls instead. Anyway, I can't see my face clearly either. Just have a shadow standing there. Okay, speaking of which, someone might ask, buy inflatable dolls, paired with clothing that matches the era. That's also a lot of money. It's not cheaper than hiring group actors. That's right, if I buy it, it is indeed expensive. But what if it's renting? In Hollywood, there are specialized companies that rent inflatable dolls. They not only provide considerate handling and placement services, but they will also bring their own clothing. Affordable prices. According to the director's introduction, renting these dolls can save approximately 70% of costs compared to real people. In a limited space photography studio, what shooting techniques to use can make the scene appear larger. When Cameron was filming Titanic, I just encountered this problem back then because the funds exceeded the budget. So when building the interior of the ship, the scenery of two floors up and down, it's not as tall as that. At this point, there's no need for any special measures. Take a picture of this scene. It will appear very stingy. Cameron came up with a clever trick, since the space is not large enough. So, let's start with the actors. When selecting group performances with styling behind the station, he only has one requirement, not for those over 7 meters tall. The shorter the stature, the better. A group of little guys standing behind isn't the setting to beg. Afterwards, Kashan expressed his pride. This little trick of mine saved the company millions of dollars. But this creative casting technique, I couldn't change this film, becoming the film with the highest production cost at that time. In Clockwork Orange, after this guy jumped out of the window, next is a shot from a first-person perspective. This shot is actually very easy to take. It's nothing more than putting a Vea on the camera and throwing it down. Or you could give the photographer a wig, jump down holding the camera. Director Kubrick doesn't take the ordinary path. When I took this shot back then, his choices, not tied to Vea, just throw the camera down directly. What's even more outrageous is that Kubrick has a high demand for visuals. This shot shattered 6 cameras completely. I took 6 shots before passing. According to Kubrick, he often takes a shot as a convention of repeatedly filming dozens or even hundreds of times. Take this shot 6 times and it will pass. Not because it meets his standards, but all the backup cameras in the group let him throw it all away. In The Lord of the Rings, this ring is in flames. The close-up shots of flipping also require attention to detail. Generally speaking, there are 2 ways to achieve this image. One is to take close-up shots with a macro lens. The second is not taking actual photos. Generate directly with special effects. But director Peter Jackson felt that neither of these 2 methods works, because if we take photos with a macro lens, we still need to buy a single lens. Just use it once or twice. It's too wasteful. If using special effects, it can be, but it's expensive. The price is even higher than buying a lens. So his mind twitched. I came up with an idea. Someone directly made a ring prop with a diameter 1 circle larger than a football. This was done. Take photos directly with a regular lens. Isn't that enough? Both economical and affordable.